Roblox Pressure is a brutal descent into darkness. You take on the role of an expendable prisoner, chosen by Urbanshade to embark on a high-risk expedition into the Hadal Blacksite, a deep-sea research facility dedicated to studying anomalies and monsters. Your reward? A hefty sum of money and a full pardon, if you make it out alive. The Hadal Blacksite is no ordinary lab. It's a decaying underwater nightmare crawling with grotesque creatures and failed experiments. Your mission is to retrieve the main power source, secure any loose assets, and survive whatever horrors lurk in the flooded corridors. In this video, we'll explore the monstrosities hidden within the Hadal depths, breaking down their behaviors, abilities, backstory, and overall threat levels. For clarification, these will be ranked as if these entities existed in the real world, and you had no prior knowledge of what you were facing. So strap in, stay quiet, and don't look down, because we're diving straight into the nightmare facility you were never meant to survive. Blitz, designated as Z-283-B, is a horrifying creature resembling a severely deformed gray viperfish with sharp, needle-like teeth and 3 pupils clustered within its left eye socket. Its entire face is grotesquely misshapen, dominated by a gaping mouth that stretches across most of its head. The entity is perpetually shrouded in a thick, dark smoke that conceals its body, leaving only its disturbing face visible. No matter where one stands, Blitz's face remains fixed towards the observer, as if always watching. Blitz typically manifests when a person's current or previous location contains a viable hiding spot. Its arrival is preceded by an extended flickering of nearby lights, lasting about twice as long as normal, accompanied by a deep, droning hum that fills the area. When it finally reaches the room, Blitz releases a guttural roar, which serves as the only warning before it charges through. This sound can sometimes be used by experienced individuals as a cue to take cover before the creature arrives. Blitz functions similarly to other node-type monsters within the Hadal Blacksite, suggesting a shared behavioral pattern or origin. Following the catastrophic Blacksite lockdown caused by Z-13, multiple angler-type entities were detected on CCTV footage, including Blitz. Since these sightings occurred only after the lockdown, personnel are advised to treat Blitz with the same level of caution and hostility as the angler itself. Blitz is insanely dangerous, instantly killing any target that enters its line of sight. Due to its remarkable speed, far surpassing that of the angler, there is almost no room for error once it happens. The only reliable method is to seek immediate refuge before Blitz enters the area, typically within a locker or another enclosed hiding space. Attempting to outrun or confront the entity is futile. Careful timing is crucial, as mistiming a hide or emerging too soon results in instant death. Although Blitz disappears quickly after passing through a section, the aftermath of its appearance serves as a grim reminder of its power. Blitz stands as one of the most dangerous anomalies within the Hadal Blacksite, embodying both the unnatural speed and unrelenting aggression of the deep-sea horrors unleashed by the lockdown. Its presence alone transforms any encounter into a fight for survival, one that only the most prepared and fortunate could hope to withstand. Lamels, also known by its codename Bottomfeeder, is a massive, parasitic slug-like entity that serves as the primary threat within the dredge. The creature has 4 antennae atop its head, and a claw-shaped mouth lined with sharp ridges. Its dull gray body ends in a grotesque cluster of fish fused together, each one biting into the next, forming a living chain that acts as both bait and nourishment. The Bottomfeeder emerges from the depths of the dredge's waters, tracking players as they navigate through flooded chambers. When players step onto dry ground, it submerges and temporarily retreats. However, re-entering the water will cause it to surface again and resume pursuit. Should it catch a victim, it attempts to consume them whole, forcing players to fight for survival or be devoured. The most effective way to evade the Bottomfeeder is by reaching elevated or dry areas, as it cannot follow onto land. Those caught in the water can also survive by dodging its sudden charges, slipping to the side just before impact. The lammow species was first discovered during the construction of the Hadal Blacksite, identified as a deep-sea organism that sustains itself through a unique parasitic process. To lure prey, it extends the freshest of its attached fish outward, mimicking natural marine behavior. When a new fish bites, the bottom feeder releases a toxin that locks the prey's jaws shut, permanently binding it onto the chain. Over time, the parasite drains nutrients from its hosts, leaving the older fish withered and lifeless, while newer ones continue the cycle. In the natural ecosystem of the Blacksite's abyssal depths, bottom feeders are considered prey to the much larger searchlights. To protect themselves, they use the living fish on their tails as decoys, distracting predators and allowing the parasite to retreat to safety, a tactic that has proven successful for countless generations of this nightmarish creature. Z-566, codenamed Candlebearers, are towering stone-like humanoid entities that serve as one of the primary threats within the Graveyard, and can also be found roaming dark rooms throughout the Hadal Blacksite. Each Candlebearer resembles a massive statue with a lantern-shaped head housing a lit candle. When active, the flame extinguishes, signaling the creature's awakening. Despite their stone-like appearance, Candlebearers are alive and highly dangerous. When light shines upon them, they freeze completely, making illumination a vital survival tool. However, if left in darkness, these entities advance towards the player, delivering a devastating slam attack that inflicts severe damage upon contact. Players must exercise extreme caution, as maintaining a light on them for too long provokes their rage. After roughly 3 seconds, their candles ignite with a blue flame, signaling that they have entered an enraged state. In this form, they move at incredible speed, becoming immune to light, and will relentlessly pursue their target for a short duration. When moving through areas inhabited by Candlebearers, it is crucial to manage light exposure carefully. Brief flashes of illumination can freeze them momentarily, allowing safe passage without triggering aggression. Prolonged exposure, however, guarantees a swift and violent reaction. Normally, Candlebearers move slower than the player, allowing cautious movement to outpace them. But once enraged, their speed surpasses human limits, forcing players to rely on precise timing and constant motion to survive. A rare variation of these creatures, designated Z-566-1 and codenamed Candlebrutes, exists within exclusive containment rooms of both the Graveyard and the Hadal Blacksite. Candlebrutes behave similarly to their counterparts, but possess key differences that make them even more dangerous. Instead of freezing under light, they merely slow down, and emergency lighting has no effect on them. They are faster, more aggressive, and cannot pursue victims between rooms, but remain deadly within their territory. Like their counterparts, extended exposure to light enrages them. After approximately 5 seconds of illumination, they ignite with a blue flame and become uncontrollable for roughly 15 seconds before calming down. To survive encounters with Candlebrutes, the best strategy is to use light sparingly to slow them rather than to freeze them. When trapped in a room with one, players are advised to bait its attacks, waiting for it to punch before quickly scanning or retrieving required keycards, as the entity momentarily pauses to recover after each strike. The Candlebearers have existed since the early 1800s, originating in the Graveyard, where they were first placed as decorative statues. Over time, each statue began to deteriorate in identical ways, revealing their true living nature. Their stone-like exteriors harden when exposed to light, as illumination burns their inner blood veins and halts movement. Each Candlebearer possesses a unique non-functional heart, and becomes violently reactive to prolonged exposure to light, causing their internal candles to ignite with blue fire, triggering a frenzy of aggression. The Candlebrutes, a rare and far more volatile variant, were later recovered from the Graveyard and transferred to the Hadal Blacksite for research. Urbanshade researchers believe they could be weaponized for combat, though their instability and resistance to control make them exceedingly dangerous. Both the Candlebearers and Candlebrutes embody the relentless, suffocating terror of the Hadal depths, where even light, normally a symbol of safety, can become the very thing that seals your fate. Eyefestation, also known as Z-317, is a hostile deep-sea organism that resides within the Hadal Blacksite. Its body resembles that of a malformed bull shark, but its most striking features are the dozens of bright green, bioluminescent eyes scattered across its body and snout. Each of these eyes emits concentrated rays of light, used to detect and hunt prey. When present, Eyefestation appears outside ocean-facing windows, flooding rooms with eerie green light. Anyone caught in its gaze begins to lose control of their own vision. The eyes pull the victim's focus toward it, draining their life force through prolonged eye exposure. The more one stares, the faster their health deteriorates. Escaping its pull requires physical effort, moving one's vision in the opposite direction. Hiding behind solid cover or inside secure areas blocks its line of sight, cutting off its influence. Eyefestation was the first successful but catastrophic outcome of Urbanshade's BUPWM experiment, a classified program designed to grant humans the ability to kill via eye contact. The test subject mutated into an abomination covered with excess eyes, many growing internally and externally as a byproduct of genetic instability. The procedure also gave it telepathic capabilities, allowing it to mentally compel others to look at it. During the Hadal Blacksite lockdown, Sebastian Solace freed Eyefestation along with several other anomalies. However, instead of escaping, the creature remained near the facility, attacking Urbanshade personnel and expendable prisoners alike. After the lockdown concluded, Urbanshade forces successfully terminated the entity, though its remains reportedly still emit a faint green light, suggesting some level of activity persists. Eyefestation stands as one of Urbanshade's most infamous mistakes, a living weapon that turned its gaze back upon its creators.
My name is Sebastian, your only friend.
Sebastian Solace, also known as Z-13, is one of the most complex and tragic figures in Pressure. Once a human wrongfully convicted of mass murder, Sebastian's story begins in 2013, when he was sentenced to execution for a crime he did not commit. Before his death could be carried out, Urbanshade intervened, faking his execution and secretly transferring him to the Hadal Blacksite for experimental use. There, Sebastian was reclassified as an LR-P and subjected to inhumane genetic testing, meant to give humans the ability to breathe underwater. The experiment succeeded, granting him gills, but also horribly disfigured his body, mutating him into a serpentine, amphibious being with light blue scales, fin-like ears, a glowing esca, and a third eye. Years later, evidence surfaced proving his innocence, but Urbanshade withheld the truth. By then, Sebastian's transformation was irreversible. Despite his mutated form, he adapted to life in the depths, becoming a cunning, resourceful trader among prisoners. Outfitted in a dark coat, belts, and weapons, he now operates as a smuggler within the facility, selling supplies and information to surviving inmates. Though outwardly sarcastic and detached, his hatred toward Urbanshade runs deep, driven by years of torture and betrayal. His intelligence and ruthlessness made him a major force within the Blacksite. In a calculated act of rebellion, Sebastian triggered a site-wide lockdown by killing an elite guard, stealing his keycard, and releasing many of the contained anomalies. Afterward, he began selling confidential Urbanshade data to rival organizations such as Innovation Inc., who promised to help reverse his mutations. By the time of Pressure's events, Sebastian is both a merchant and anarchist, willing to aid prisoners for mutual benefit, but unpredictable and violent when aggravated. On October 16th, following the retrieval of Z-2, Innovation Inc. successfully extracted Sebastian from the Blacksite. Whether he truly seeks redemption or simply revenge on the company that destroyed his life remains uncertain. But one thing is clear: Sebastian Solace is no longer human. He is Z-13, the Serpent of the Hadal Depths, and his vengeance against Urbanshade has just only begun. Squiddles, also known as S-Q, are large, pitch-black humanoid entities that move on 8 tentacle-like appendages instead of arms or legs. These tentacles form a circular base beneath their torso, and are lined with glowing white spikes resembling suction cups when the creature becomes agitated. Their faces vary widely between individuals, each displaying a different unsettling expression that illuminates in the dark when provoked. Squiddles are only capable of manifesting in dark environments. In their dormant state, they remain motionless and harmless, blending seamlessly within the shadows. However, they slowly grow hostile when disturbed, either by a light source within their vicinity or someone standing too close. As their anger builds, their facial features begin to glow white, signaling aggression. Once fully enraged, a Squiddle lunges at its target, letting out a piercing shriek and temporarily blinding the victim with a flash of light and a distorted image of its face. Avoiding Squiddles requires careful control of illumination. Direct light will provoke them, so players must use it sparingly. Brief flashes to freeze them temporarily, or guide movement around them. The use of omnidirectional light sources such as lanterns is discouraged, as their wide glow can unintentionally enrage hidden Squiddles. Focused lights like flashlights or black lights are safer alternatives when aimed strategically at ceilings or walls. Discovered on an abandoned cargo ship, Squiddles were found to have wiped out nearly the entire crew before Urbanshade intervened. Survivors were executed, and the entities were transported to the Hadal Blacksite for containment and study. Researchers found that Squiddles possess limited teleportation abilities, allowing them to vanish and reappear in nearby dark spaces when threatened. Their glowing faces are believed to serve as a defense mechanism, taking forms that evoke fear or disgust to ward off intruders. Those who encounter them in the dark must tread carefully, for a single beam of light can mean the difference between survival and being torn apart in the dark. Wall dwellers, also known as Z-90, are humanoid predators that hide inside walls using flat, plate-like disguises across their fronts. They have no visible eyes, but reveal human-like mouths with split lower jaws full of sharp teeth when they emerge. Their posture and texture allow them to blend almost seamlessly into drywall or paneling until a victim walks by. When a person enters a new room, a wall dweller may be already lodged in the wall. The dweller quietly slips out, follows, and then strikes. It will kick the target to the ground and rip out their neck at close range. If you spot a dweller before it closes distance, it will abandon the hunt with a loud noise and flee, but it can return later, and when it does, its footsteps are faster and more aggressive. You can detect wall dwellers if you stay alert. Their footsteps are audible and have a different rhythm than a human's. If you hear a step pattern that's out of sync with yours, turn around and check the walls. If you identify a room that contains a dweller, keep your eyes on that room as you move into the next one. Doing so will usually scare it off before it can catch you. Biologically, they're unusual. Wall dwellers lack normal organs aside from a stomach and contain acid glands. They make their hiding holes by spraying acid from their backs, then press themselves against the wall and wait. They prefer to stalk and ambush, killing everyone first and returning afterward to consume the corpses. Wall dwellers were first discovered in an abandoned Los Angeles office complex after a group of influencers went missing. Urbanshade was called in and recovered 29 specimens and footage of the victims being stalked and eaten. The researchers are studying the dwellers' camouflage in hopes of adapting it for tactical uniforms and equipment, a project that, if successful, will result in the planned execution of all wall dwellers. Pay attention to walls and sounds. If you hear mismatched footsteps or notice subtle wall anomalies, back away and don't turn your back. Alternatively, confronting and frightening a dweller causes it to flee, though it may come back. For players comfortable with risk, provoking a dweller then running several rooms can spawn a node monster, which can lead to the death of the wall dweller. The Hadal Blacksite was never meant to be explored, only to contain the uncontainable. Every step you take deeper into those flooded halls brings you closer to the end. Not of the mission, but of yourself. The monsters that roam these corridors aren't just experiments, they're Urbanshade's failures, and you're the next one on their list. Remember, no matter how much money or freedom they promised you, nothing is worth venturing into a place that humanity was never meant to reach. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the horrors of pressure, make sure to leave a like, comment which creature you think you could survive against, and subscribe for more nightmare-fueled breakdowns. Because down here, survival is not guaranteed. And until next time, friends.